Welcome to Hidden Horizons, a channel where the most fascinating and overlooked tales from world history are quietly brought back to life. Here, we journey through time with calm narration, gently unwrapping the mysteries that shape our world. If you enjoy thoughtful storytelling and want to support new discoveries, please like and subscribe. Your presence helps us share these hidden stories with more curious minds. In this video, we step into the haunting world of a civilization that vanished almost overnight. Through atmospheric stories and quiet reflection, we will follow the traces left behind, questioning how entire societies can fade so swiftly, leaving only echoes in the silence. Tonight, rest easy as we gently explore histories shrouded in mist and marvel at the unanswered mysteries left behind. Chapter 1. Echoes Before the Silence. Imagine ancient walls cloaked in morning mist, their stones telling stories no living person can recall. This chapter opens with gentle wonder, pondering how thriving worlds can suddenly become empty. As we walk among the ruins, we reflect on how quickly everything can change and how the past quietly lingers, whispering questions to all who choose to listen in the soft dawn light. Each step among the crumbling stones stirs a sense of calm awe. These ruins once rang with laughter and life, but now they carry only echoes. Why did so many voices vanish so suddenly? Nature reclaims pathways where feet once hurried, and dew gathers on weathered doorways that once welcomed travelers. We begin here, inviting you to let curiosity guide you through the silence, feeling the weight and awe of lost civilizations. Tonight, let your mind wander. Imagine the first beams of sunlight spilling over broken columns and empty plazas deep within ancient forests. Was it a great storm, a shift in the earth, or something quietly building from within that caused such sudden emptiness? As the mist drifts and settles, the memory of countless lives lingers, wrapped in gentle mystery and the comfort of soft, reflective silence. As we gently move through these ancient remains, picture quiet mornings where time seems to stand still. The air is filled with the scent of damp earth, and each stone is cool to the touch. It is within these hushed hours that new questions arise. How do worlds so busy one day fall silent the next? What trace left in crumbling carvings or faded artifacts offer us clues to the stories that almost slipped away? Let each calm breath draw you deeper into the misty scene. Wind stirs leaves and sways tall grasses, but the true mystery presses quietly all around. Imagine what it felt like, the night everything changed, the last fires fading, familiar paths left behind. The gentle hush invites you to ponder not just how civilizations end, but the wonders they leave gently folded in stone and soil, unseen yet waiting. Evenings in these ruins are thick with memory. Shadows linger in the corners of toppled halls, reminders that stories do not simply vanish, but linger in the silence. Listen to the soft chorus of dripping water, the faint call of distant birds. There is no rush here, only the patient unfolding of old secrets. With each moment, the calm mystery draws you further inward, inviting restful curiosity and contemplation. Let the gentle rhythm of this story guide your thoughts. Picture moss growing across ancient carvings, time smoothing every sharp edge. The world that once was still whispers beneath every fallen archway and broken stair. As silence deepens, we gently ask, if the ground could speak, what would it share about sudden disappearances? The calm invites us to explore alongside the quiet earth, seeking comfort in unhurried discovery. As our journey through the mist-shrouded ruins begins, we are neither hurried nor lost. Instead, we move with quiet wonder, letting questions guide us without demanding answers. This night is for finding peace within the mystery, allowing history's unanswered moments to become lullabies as you drift towards sleep. In the silence that follows, prepare to trace the fading footsteps of a civilization that disappeared overnight. Chapter 2. The World They Built. Imagine the first light of dawn spilling softly over ancient rooftops, awakening a city that pulses with life and history. The air crackles with distant laughter and the rhythmic beat of footsteps echoing through stone streets. As morning unfolds, the city's heart begins to beat faster, drawing people together amid the gentle hum of everyday activity. Each detail a quiet testament to a once flourishing world. Moving through the bustling marketplace, vibrant stalls overflow with mysterious spices, woven baskets and shimmering fabrics. The scent of baking bread teases the senses, mixing with the laughter of children darting between traders. Here, bartering is an art, old hands and young apprentices exchanging goods and stories. Every corner is alive with purpose, a delicate web of trade and tradition linking all who call this remarkable place home. Among the market's crowd, artisans shape clay with practiced hands, their fingers expertly coaxing life from raw earth. Ironworkers hammer softly, filling the air with muted metallic songs as their tools create wonders both beautiful and useful. Innovation nestles seamlessly in daily life. These people's clever inventions ease burdens and illuminate their days, marking their civilization as advanced and resourceful, quietly transforming the present with every creation. Beyond the markets, narrow lanes wind through clusters of sun-baked homes. Families gather for their morning meal, sharing simple bread and fruit, their quiet conversations threaded with affection and routine. Intricate textiles hang from doorways and painted pottery lines windowsills, each object a reflection of personal pride and community artistry. The joy here is subtle, woven into life's smallest details, yet unmistakably profound. In hidden courtyards, elders gather beneath ancient trees, their voices low and wise. Stories from generations past swirl like autumn leaves, teaching lessons and sharing hopes. Children watch in hushed awe as rituals are performed, ancient songs sung softly to the rhythm of hand drums, smoke from burning herbs drifting lazily skyward. These daily ceremonies are a gentle tapestry, binding past and present in silent reverence. The architecture rises with an elegant steadiness carefully placed stones, archways carved with patterns of sun and stars, reflecting a harmony with nature. Public fountains gurgle amid orderly plazas where citizens rest and share laughter in the cool of late afternoon. From every pillar and pathway springs a sense of calm confidence, as if this city might withstand any force, its foundations set deep in tradition and unity. As evening approaches, villagers gather along the river, casting nets into the shimmering water. A hush falls over the crowd as poets recite tales of heroism and love, their verses blending with the gentle sounds of flowing water. The fading sun bathes the world in warm gold, and faces glow with peaceful contentment, momentarily free from worry. It is a picture of deep-rooted belonging and serene order. At nightfall, lanterns flicker to life, casting soft halos along the winding streets. Families come together once more, sharing meals under the stars. Gentle laughter rises, mingling with whispered prayers for gratitude and hope. Above, the moon traces its path across the sky, watched by silent eyes that trust in the promise of another sunrise. There is great beauty in this quiet routine, so easily taken for granted. Yet, within the city's rhythm, there is a subtle tension, a faint awareness that nothing is ever truly permanent. Hushed conversations linger in shadowy corners, elders exchanging knowing glances as the winds shift direction. They sense, perhaps, the fragility hidden behind their civilization's strength. The way one unexpected moment can transform certainty into silence and leave mysteries behind for ages to come. As the chapter closes, we admire the intricate order, creativity, and hope that shaped daily life in this vanished society. We are left with a haunting feeling of civilization secure in its beauty, not knowing that change was near. Their rituals and inventions echo through time, and as darkness settles over their city, we brace ourselves to uncover what fate awaited them on the edge of oblivion. Chapter 3. Whispers in the Wind. The days began much like any other, yet the air held a growing uncertainty. The winds, once gentle and familiar, now carried whispers that seemed foreign. Shadows danced differently across the village square, and the usual songs of birds fell oddly quiet. Elders exchanged wary glances, uneasy with the subtle changes around them. Nature, it seemed, was trying to speak, but its message remained shrouded in mystery. The villagers noticed subtle shifts that set their nerves on edge. A lingering chill crept into the mornings, even as the sun climbed higher. Leaves turned with the wind in ways they never had before. Curious patterns formed in the clouds, hinting at something uncanny. Each day, the signs grew harder to ignore, forming a tapestry of omens. Conversations hushed as everyone began to sense an approaching change, nudging the community into quiet apprehension. Elders, known for their wisdom and steady eyes, gathered at dawn to share their observations. Ill omens, they warned, often arrived quietly, hidden like seeds in the soil. The sudden silencing of crickets at dusk, the strange looping of swallows through heavy skies. To them, these were messages from the world beyond. Their voices, calm yet concerned, echoed through the growing silence, sowing seeds of caution throughout the village. Children paused their games, watching as parents looked skyward, faces etched with worry. The playful wind carried with it unfamiliar scents, and a thick stillness settled over the fields. Even the animals behaved. Strangely, goats bleated at odd hours, and birds left their nests before dawn. The village, once lively and predictable, felt unsettled, as if every living thing anticipated news only the wind could deliver. Nighttime brought uneasy dreams to many. The elders spoke quietly of visions, rivers running backwards, trees uprooting themselves, and stars flickering out one by one. Waking at sunrise, villagers found their sense of normalcy slipping further away. Even familiar sounds, a dog's bark or a child's laughter, sounded different, echoing an unplaceable anxiety. The world, gentle and balanced for generations, now seemed full of riddles. The whispers in the wind seemed to gather strength with each passing day. When storms that should have faded instead lingered, everyone felt the push of invisible forces shaping their twilight hours. Old legends, once recounted for entertainment, now returned with new weight. Could the ancestors, as the story said, truly send warnings through changes in weather? The village stood quiet, as if listening for guidance carried on the breeze. Elders placed tokens at the edge of the field's tiny offerings of woven grass and river stonestow, honour the spirits believed to dwell in the land. These simple rituals, long part of village life, now took on an urgency. Each gesture was a plea for understanding, a hope that nature's signals might be softened. Yet, as dusk settled in, the feeling of suspense stretched taut, binding every soul in anticipation of what might come. By the water's edge, stories spread that the river's flow had grown inconsistent. Fishermen whispered that fish no longer gathered in their usual spots, as if sensing unrest within the earth itself. Reflections on the water's surface trembled at the slightest wind, distorting familiar shapes into unrecognizable forms. It seemed that even the land was uneasy, holding its breath for some unseen decision soon to be made. With the sky darkening earlier than before, the villagers gathered around flickering flames to share theories in low voices. Some believed the arrival of these omens signalled the end of an old cyclic time of change decreed by long-forgotten powers. Others insisted it was all coincidence, a mere shift in the seasons. Yet no one could fully deny the truth. Everything felt different, as if an unseen boundary had been crossed. The wind song continued to haunt the days and nights, weaving through empty corridors and rustling the branches above. Those awake before dawn swore they heard voices, distant and unintelligible, drifting alongside the gusts. These whispers did not frighten, but they insisted on attention, reminding all who listened that change was coming. Together, the villagers waited, hearts caught between fear and hope, for nature's next revelation. Chapter 4. Shadows Looming. The world began to tremble softly at first, a gentle reminder beneath the villagers' feet that something beneath the surface was stirring. At dawn, faint vibrations rippled through the soil, unsettling chickens and causing dogs to bark in confusion. People paused their chores to listen, sensing the earth was no longer at rest. The air carried a peculiar heaviness, as if delivering an unspoken warning from nature itself. Now the rivers grew wild. Mountain streams, once calm and clear, surged with unexpected force. Banks overflowed, swallowing paths and flooding fields where children once played. Mothers called their little ones home, anxious eyes scanning the clouds for any sign of relief. At night, the sounds of rushing water replaced the familiar songs of crickets. The old certainty that each dawn would bring harmony started slipping quietly away. Crops, so vital to life, began to wither as if refusing to grow beneath the strange sky. Stalks drooped, and golden grains became sparse. Farmers moved through their fields in silence, trying to recall old remedies whispered by ancestors. But the roots were brittle, and the leaves curled like parchment left in the sun. Anxiety settled in the villages, growing heavier with each morning spent surveying barren soil. Families gathered around dim hearths, voices lowered in worried conversation. The elders, trusted guides through countless seasons, could only clutch their beads and frown at each other. Traditions handed down over generations when to plant, when to harvest brought little comfort, Even the most faithful were haunted by doubts, sensing that the cycles they depended on were faltering under invisible pressure. At sunset, a silent procession would trace along the newly formed cracks in the earth. Children touched the trembling ground with trembling hands. Mothers recited prayers meant to ward off disaster. Ancient songs drifted through the cool night air, but comfort proved elusive. Shadows stretched long across empty fields, and in the flicker of lanterns, fear swelled quietly within every heart. Some blamed unseen forces, fearful of vengeful spirits awakened by human pride. Others whispered of natural cycles that no one understood. The elders remembered stories from their own childhoods, of years when nothing grew, of waters that would not recede. But this felt different, more insistent, as if the world itself was trying to send a message that no one could quite decipher. Night after night, tremors became more frequent. Pots clattered on shelves, and the thatched roofs shook so that sleep came only in restless fragments. By candlelight, families packed essential belongings, uncertain if they would be forced to flee. Outside, the once placid village square stood deserted, watched over now by anxious eyes behind shuttered windows, waiting for the earth to settle. In these troubled times, even animals sensed the unease. Dogs howled without cause, and birds flew erratically, abandoning familiar nesting grounds. Livestock, once docile, became restless and wild, breaking free from fences to roam in search of safety. The boundaries between nature and home blurred, with every living thing responding to invisible signals as the world lost its balance. During moments of brief calm, neighbours stood together beneath starlit skies. They exchanged stories and tried to find hope in shared memories of resilience. The eldest told tales of survival through hardship, reminding all that communities could endure much. Yet with every new shake of the ground, even the strongest voices trembled, and hope fluttered like a candle in a restless wind. As the chapter drew to a close, the sense of unease reached every corner. Old rhythms. The trusted ebb and flow of Nichirano longer offered comfort or explanation. Families clung to each other as darkness gathered, realizing the world they once knew was changing beyond recognition. From shadows and silence, a new story was beginning, carrying the weight of questions no one yet dared to ask. Chapter 5. The Breaking Point. The quiet hum of daily life in the settlement began to falter, replaced by anxious whispers in shadowed corners. Supplies that once seemed abundant grew thin, and the lines at the communal stores lengthened each morning. In the chill of dawn, neighbours exchanged wary glances, each calculating how much was left and how much they could share. The sense of unity that once defined them began to tremble. Pressure mounted as frustration trickled into the open. The leaders, once confident, met with furrowed brows around flickering lamps, their voices low as they debated hard choices. Old disagreements, long buried, surfaced again as the community struggled to decide whose needs came first. The boundaries between friend and stranger began to blur, leaving everyone unsettled as the mood grew heavy. The dusk brought no relief. Small acts of desperation crept in. Someone swapped 2 loaves of bread for a length of rope. Another quietly ignored the cries of their neighbour. Where unity had once reigned, quiet suspicion grew, each person wondering if another might take more than their share. The fabric of trust frayed under the relentless weight of scarcity and fear. Cracks in harmony widened after a heated argument broke out near the well. Accusations of hoarding water echoed in the night air, stinging sharper than the cold wind. Though nothing could be proven, the damage was done. The community began to measure every word, every action, knowing now that trust could splinter in a single heartbeat. Suspicion lingered even as the stars blinked overhead. As darkness settled, some gathered in secret. Whispered plans and quiet alliances began to form beneath the flicker of torches. There were those who urged caution, urging patience, but others, driven by fear and hunger, wished for immediate action. The flickering firelight revealed faces drawn with worry, eyes darting as uncertainty became their constant companion. Meanwhile, the elders, burdened by responsibility, struggled to mediate the growing unrest. Their voices, once steady and respected, sometimes faltered when addressing an anxious crowd. They spoke of hard seasons past, of trials survived together, and pleaded for understanding, but their words fell heavy, echoed by the hollow silence of those unsure that patience could solve the hardship pressing in. In family homes, quiet conversations turned tense. Parents tried to shield their children from the anxiety, but the atmosphere was too thick to hide. Sleepless nights became common as the younger ones asked questions about food and safety, questions their elders struggled to answer convincingly. Even the comforting routines of bedtime stories could not fully soothe the gathering worries. Outside, the weather seemed to press down as well skies heavy and grey by day, frigid and dark by night. Nature itself appeared to mirror the community's strain, amplifying each worry. Crops withered, animals grew thin, and the forest that once supplied all needs now felt cold and empty. The sense of isolation deepened as each sunrise brought more uncertainty. In the midst of growing hardship, divisions slowly took hold. Where once communal work brought laughter, now sullen faces went about daily chores. Simple disagreements flared into sharp disputes, and the leaders realized that every choice now risked alienating some of their people. Hope flickered, but for many, resignation quietly settled as their burdens grew heavier each day. Still, in rare moments of quiet, a few individuals clung to hope, recalling ancient stories of resilience. Some tried to gather the community for spoken words of encouragement, fragile reminders that unity once saw them through storms. But the breaking point loomed, a shadow across every decision. The chapter closed with a sense that, unless something changed, the cracks would spread beyond repair. Chapter 6. The Day the Earth Moved. The sky was no different that morning, with clouds drifting calmly and villages stirring to their usual rituals. Suddenly, a distant rumble whispered beneath the air, that first gentle, almost as if the world breathed in its sleep. Then, in a flash, tranquility was shattered as the ground lurched. Walls trembled, and trembling hearts clung to hope as the earth's mighty voice unspooled its ancient tale. Beneath quiet foundations, hidden tensions awoke. Rocks ground against one another with a low groan, and the soil itself seemed to ripple like water. Trees bowed, swaying helplessly, as cracks split the ground's familiar face. In this moment, all certainty vanished. Nature's veiled strength, so often gentle, revealed itself as a force that could turn worlds upside down without warning. A reminder that balance can shatter in a single heartbeat. Streets once echoing with laughter now rang with the sound of collapsing stone. Each toppled house and broken pathway told its own story of panic and helplessness. Dust clouded the morning air, mingling with broken memories. The roar was unending, drowning all thoughts except survival, every breath a desperate hope. In that measured chaos, the lands past and present collided, a civilization meeting the raw, poetic fury of the earth. Amid rolling thunder from beneath, the world transformed in the span of heartbeats. Familiar horizons twisted, tilting as monuments to generations crumbled. Families clung together, wide-eyed, feeling the unrelenting rhythm of the upheaval. Time stretched thin through those moments of terror, each second etched with primal awe. Even as collapse reigned, there was beauty's sheer magnitude of nature at work, reminding all of its silent, sovereign power. Ancient walls surrendered to the tremors. Mercy, stones tumbling in slow-motion spectacle. Among the ruins, echoes of old songs drifted and faded. The ground continued to dance beneath their feet, defying human hopes of stability. Survivors watched, awestruck, unable to look away. Destruction did not come with anger, rather, with a quiet dignity, nature exercised its right to renew the landscape, a painter sweeping away centuries. In those few relentless minutes, time ceased to feel linear. Generations seemed washed away in a river of trembling earth and falling roofs. Every crashing timber was a reminder that nothing built is ever truly permanent. The people, small and vulnerable, could only yield to the vast, unseen gears of the world beneath them. It was as if the earth remembered its own will and chose, unasked, to reshape the stories above. When the violence finally relented, silence pressed in, thick and absolute. Dust hung suspended in golden morning light, swallowing familiar shapes and blurring memories. For a long, heart-stopping moment, no birds sang and no feet moved, only the ache of loss lingered. Yet, in that quiet aftermath, a strange reverence grew, an understanding that survival was a gift granted by powers far older and deeper than any human ambition. Survivors emerged from the storm of stone and soil, blinking in the pale sun. Shadows stretched across what once were streets, now choked with broken history. There was no anger, just awe and a deep humility before the earth's hidden mechanics. Together, people gathered in makeshift silence, counting blessings and holding close those who remained. An ancient lesson whispered on the wind. Everything cherished is only ever borrowed from time and nature. As light filtered through the haze, hopes tentatively rekindled. Eyes searched the horizon for places of safety, minds searching for reason in the chaos. Each story spoken in the aftermath carried both fear and wonder, for, even among ruins, life persisted. In the face of immense loss, the heartbeat of a community began anew, woven together by resilience and quiet gratitude. The day the earth moved became the night hope took root amid the rubble. In the days to follow, the landscape remained forever altered. Where once sturdy homes had stood, only outlines lingered, gentle reminders etched in dust. Yet the people found beauty in survival, a testament to the stubborn spirit of those who faced disaster together. The story of this vanished civilization did not end in collapse. Instead, it became a timeless tale of awe, humility, and the enduring dance between humankind and the mysterious, mighty earth. Chapter 7. Stillness. After the storm, the world feels unrecognizable beneath a heavy hush. Where thriving cities once stood, only fragments remain, scattered like memories. The disaster has ended, but in its place lingers a ghostly calm, as if the earth itself mourns. Survivors wander through the ruins, each step stirring echoes of what was lost. Their eyes search for meaning in the unfamiliar silence, hearts weighed with sorrow and disbelief. The silence is profound, broken only by the distant calls of wind threading through the splintered remains. Every sound carries a reminder of the chaos that came before. Among the survivors, faces are etched with exhaustion and awe, the shock of survival mixing with a deep, reflective grief. They gather in small groups or move alone, each person attempting to understand this new world that disaster has shaped around them. The landscape has become a tapestry of change. Familiar landmarks are twisted or gone, roads erased beneath fallen trees and shifting earth. The survivors feel adrift, their memories of home clashing with the unfamiliar shapes rising from the mist. Some pause to trace the outlines of shattered walls or broken tools, hands trembling as they cling to the fragments of what they once knew. This strange quiet magnifies every gesture, every breath. Sorrow drapes itself across the ruins. In the absence of the usual rhythms of life, time seems suspended. Those left behind carry not only their own pain, but the absence of loved ones' faces now remembered as shadows in their minds. Each moment of stillness serves as a space for reflection, as survivors whisper the names of the missing to the silent air, hoping their words might find some response among the stones and dust. Nature has begun its slow reclamation. Vines creep over fallen stones, and wild grasses sprout through cracks in the earth. In this new quiet, animals tread cautiously through places humans once ruled. Survivors notice Delta bird calling from a broken roof, or dew beading on the remains of a shattered dish. Within the stillness, a strange beauty emerges, mingled with the haunting sorrow that now marks every step. Sleep comes fitfully, with dreams haunted by memories of the disaster. Survivors lie awake beneath unfamiliar stars, comforted only by the warmth of a fire or each other's company. In the hushed dark, they share whispered stories of what life was, of what they hope may still return. The silence is both a balm and a burden, allowing space for grief to surface, but also for hope to quietly take root. As dawn breaks, pale light reveals the starkness of the new world. The survivors rise slowly, feeling the weight of what has passed and uncertainty about what comes next. The mornings are quieter now, with fewer voices and softer footsteps. Through the gentle hush, the smallest signs of life feel significanter, seedling pushing through the earth, or the distant laughter of a child. Endurance becomes a quiet act of defiance. Reflection weaves through daily tasks. Collecting water, tending a small fire, or rebuilding shelter becomes a form of meditation in the aftermath. The survivors move with purpose, but also with reverence, aware that everything familiar has been altered. Each gesture is a tribute to persistence and to the memory of those lost. In the vast stillness that surrounds them, they carve out fragile routiers a way forward amid the ruins. The haunting calm inspires silence, but not surrender. Survivors find brief comfort in small acts of kindness, a shared meal, a gentle touch, a reassuring word. These moments, though quiet, form threads of connection across the emptiness. With every thoughtful gesture, they rebuild not just structures, but a sense of belonging. In the vastness, sorrow and gratitude mingle, as those left behind create new meaning from everything that endures. As night once again falls, a hush settles that feels both heavy and oddly gentle. Survivors look up at the dark sky, contemplating how swiftly everything has changed. The stillness allows space for remembrance, hope, and resilience to coexist. In these silent hours, they gather strength from one another, quietly determined to shape whatever future remains. Here, in the calm after the chaos, their story is just beginning again. Chapter 8. What Remains? In the quiet aftermath of vanished civilizations, we encounter what is left behind. Scattered in the dust are jagged tools, fragments of pottery, and faded carvings etched into ancient stone. These silent objects wait patiently, holding within them the weight of forgotten stories and secrets never spoken. As we look closer, we sense their quiet yearning to be understood, drawing us deeper into the mystery. Each chipped tool and broken vessel speaks of hands long gone, craftspeople whose skills and intentions we can only imagine. The pottery's painted fragments hint at daily rituals, meals once shared, water once carried, laughter once echoing in rooms now lost to time. These remnants invite us to wonder not just who made them, but why they were left here for centuries, half buried in earth. Faint carvings wind across rough stone, their lines worn by wind and rain. Some shapes resemble animals, others seem purely abstract, evoking questions that travel across centuries. What stories did these carvings once tell? Did they mark a sacred space, warn of dangers, or simply pass the time? Their meanings remain just out of reach, teasing us with fragments of forgotten language. As sunlight moves across scattered relics, shadows stretch and shift, echoing the uncertainty of these ancient lives. We might imagine the people who once shaped these tools and created these objects. What did they dream? What fears did they carry? What hopes lingered in their hearts? Every object becomes a doorway, opening into the endless landscape of the unknown. Some remnants feel hauntingly ordinary, the imprint of a cup on stone, a knife worn smooth from use, marks of fire on cracked clay. Their ordinariness is their power. They ground us in the everyday realities of people who loved, mourned, struggled, and found joy, just as we do. Yet, these simple objects also remind us that one day all lives become mysteries. Scholars search for evidence in these humble remains, piecing together clues left by those long departed. A fragment of pottery reveals ancient trade routes. A stone tool hints at a once bustling settlement. Each discovery brings us closer, yet every answer raises new questions. How did so much knowledge slip away, and what might still be hidden, waiting to be found? There is a stillness in the presence of these artifacts, a silence filled with longing. Looking upon them, we feel both connection and distance, kinship with these lost makers, and a gulf carved by centuries. The objects refuse easy explanations, urging us instead toward curiosity and humility as we confront what we can never fully know. Sometimes, the artifacts appear almost deliberately mysterious, as if those who left them intended for us to wonder. We trace lines on stone, turn potsherds in our hands, imagining their purpose and meaning. The act of wondering connects us not just to the past, but to all future wanderers who will ask the same questions, circling this mystery without end. The weight of these silent relics shapes our stories and shapes our sense of time. We realize that all civilizations leave something behind, echoes for others to discover. In these fragments there is both loss and hope, the knowledge that while so much vanishes, something endures, whispering across ages to those who are ready to listen with open hearts. So, as this chapter closes, we stand at the edge of the unknowable, surrounded by what remains. In the jagged tools, broken vessels, and faint carvings, we find evidence not just of vanished lives, but of the enduring mystery that threads all of human history. Perhaps the greatest gift these relics offer is wonder itself, the unanswered question that calls us to look deeper. Chapter 9. Seeking the Lost Answers. In the soft hush of early morning, a team of modern explorers moves quietly through the remnants of a forgotten city. Dust settles on their boots as their careful investigations begin. Every brushstroke against ancient stone, every fragment unearthed, hints at a world that once thrived here. The silence is heavy, filled with questions that echo across centuries, waiting for someone to finally listen. Each artifact is a puzzle piece, fragile and silent, fitting into a mosaic that is far from complete. It is in these quiet details that seekers find hope. The past seems to offer up only whispers rather than clear answers. Yet, determination does not waver. The explorers examine worn inscriptions, the grooves of tools long abandoned, searching for glimmers of understanding. What drove these people to vanish? What secrets remain sealed beneath centuries? Across sprawling landscapes shrouded in mist, historians and archaeologists collaborate, each discovery fueling fresh theories. Layers of soil are peeled back in hopes of revealing truths. Sometimes it is a simple pottery shard, sometimes a collapsed stairwell. Each item, though ordinary, bears traces of vanished life. Patiently, the team sifts through these traces, charting connections. The landscape transforms into a living document, where every detail matters and some evidence points to a great disaster, a flood, an earthquake, or a rapid shift in climate. The clues are scattered and incomplete, leaving much to interpretation. The explorers pause to take in the view from towering cliffs, the wind carrying distant echoes. They imagine how life must have unfolded here, ordinary routines disrupted by catastrophe. This quiet contemplation shapes their search for answers, reminding them how fragile civilizations can be. Others suggest internal struggles silently tore the society apart. Faded carvings hint at disputes, perhaps over scarce water or failing crops. Ancient ledgers, brittle and faint, suggest an unraveling system. As the team pores over these relics, they are not only reconstructing events, but also the hopes and fears of people long gone. The sense of mystery deepens as every finding leads to more questions rather than the final certainty they yearn for. Night settles over the archaeological site, casting long shadows and painting memories across crumbling walls. Under lantern light, maps are redrawn and theories debated quietly. What if the true story is more complicated than anyone has imagined? The calm narration reflects on the enduring human desire to reach across time, to connect with lives once bright, now vanished. This search, endless and sometimes lonely, is shaped by both doubt and wonder. As new layers are uncovered, evidence sometimes contradicts what was once believed. This teaches the searcher's humility. Patience is essential here, where centuries-old answers are rarely clear. The explorers listen to the silence as much as the signs. Night creatures hum in the background, and each footstep stirs ancient dust. Every clue, every moment of insight, becomes part of a slow unraveling, the ghostly shape of a story hidden in the earth. The lost civilization no longer lives only in ruins. Through diligent hands and careful minds, its memory stirs among the living. Scribes record new findings, artists sketch reconstructions based on scattered hints, and scientists test theories in the quiet of their laboratories. These collaborative efforts show that the search for answers is not only about solving ancient mysteries, it is also about understanding the present and how easily all that is known can slip away. At dawn, the explorers gather and share findings, piecing together threads of insight. Each voice adds depth to the shared tapestry. Discovery is rarely simple or complete, but the journey matters as much as the destination. In gentle, reflective tones, they remind one another and us that the quest for truth is endless. The vanished civilization, once shrouded in silence, finds a kind of legacy in those who keep searching among its faded traces. The chapter closes not with answers, but with a sense of ongoing wonder. Mist rolls across the ancient landscape, softening every outline. In the quiet, the explorers vow to return, to ask new questions, to look again at old evidence. The world remains full of hidden horizons, waiting for patient eyes and listening hearts. The story of the civilization that disappeared overnight continues to unfold, carried forward by all who seek the lost answers. Chapter 10. Echoes into the present. As the ruins of the lost civilization fade into the mist, their echoes persist in our own restless world. What was once buried beneath the sands now lingers, whispering reminders about the cycles of rise and fall that shape humanity. In every stone and every silence, we find traces of those who came before, fragile yet enduring. Their story, though centuries old, still stirs our imagination and wonder. From the mysterious collapse of this ancient world, we learn more than dates and names. Their disappearance serves as a lesson carried through generations of reflection on the fragility of what we build and the resilience needed to endure change. These echoes gently remind us that history does not simply rest in the past, but ripples softly into the present, influencing how we walk through our own uncertain future. Every civilization leaves behind a silent message that existence is both fleeting and precious. The vanished society we've explored is much like a shadow at dusk, present momentarily before fading away into memory. Yet in that fleetingness lies a call for us to listen to. Gather whatever wisdom survives the silence. Let your imagination linger in the halls and streets where voices once filled the air, as echoes still softly travel to us. The mysteries this civilization left behind invite us to look inward as much as outward. We ponder how our own cities and customs might one day crumble, and what legacies could echo beyond us. Their sudden vanishing urges humility and wonder, reminding us of nature's, forces and time's relentless sweep. The past is never truly gone. It reverberates quietly within the foundations of today, shaping who we are and who we may yet become. Historians and storytellers continue to unravel threads from this lost world, but many pieces remain just out of reach. Perhaps that is how it was meant to be, a puzzle left incomplete to spark curiosity across ages. In these unanswered riddles, we learn to accept uncertainty, finding peace in the presence of unknowing. The questions themselves offer their own gentle comfort, echoing quietly through generations. Beneath the layers of dust, every relic, every faded mark on stone, urges us to listen closely. What do we carry forward from those who disappeared so swiftly? Their stories teach us about hope amid adversity, the beauty of building even when the outcome is unknown. As night falls, imagine standing among their ruins, feeling the soft wind and the faint pulse of memory, resonating through every quiet moment we share tonight. To reflect on their fate is to reflect on our own shared journey, a delicate tapestry threaded by countless hands and hearts. Sometimes, resilience means not conquering but adapting, holding on to what truly matters. The civilization that vanished overnight urges us to nurture our connections, treasure wisdom, and move gently through uncertainty, knowing that our own story too will someday become an echo for another age to hear. As this story softly draws to a close, let its echoes bring you a sense of calm and curiosity. The mysteries remain, but so does the quiet strength we inherit from those ancient voices. They remind us that even lost worlds continue to inspire, leaving delicate trails through imagination and time. Tonight, as you drift into rest, may the echoes of history comfort you and kindle wonder, leading you into gentle dreams of discovery and resilience. In the silence that now settles, remember that the story does not truly end. Each ending simply becomes another beginning, another echo to shape the future. The lessons from the vanished civilization live on, not just in broken walls, but in our questions, dreams, and hopes. Let these reflections carry you forward, quietly guiding your curiosity and awe for the boundless mysteries history still holds in its embrace. Thank you for following this journey through mystery and memory. As the last echoes fade, hold close the sense of wonder found in the unknown. History stories like this one invite us to pause, reflect, and find meaning amid uncertainty. May you always seek the hidden horizons in your world, and let stories like these lull you into a space of calm, curiosity, and gentle sleep.